that stood out for me today was getting to meet the family that we were doing the demolition for. It was really cool to hear their story and see how much they appreciated our work. It really kind of helped make the day a little bit lighter. It didn't feel like it was a lot of hard work. It just felt like you were doing something you needed to do. And I plan on using that and taking that back to Ellensburg with me and getting involved in more community type stuff and doing some more volunteer type organization.
For me today was that being able to help the family because it's something that they really needed, and what just made me feel kind of grateful to have the opportunity, and seeing them happy was just like a great feeling and made me feel like I did something, well, obviously something good, but I think how I want to play it when I get back home or to school or anywhere is that it would make me want to help others or get involved more often than I do already.
Okay. One thing that stood out to me the most today is the long-term effects of racism, because while we were doing our project at the site, Robin, the lady that was looking over us and helping us, she told me that the most people that died during Hurricane Katrina, majority was African American people because they didn't know how to swim. And that just goes back to like years ago when they had segregated pools. So the generations, over generations, they didn't know how to swim. And that's just one thing that hit me, was like the long-term effects of racism. And I think I can take that back to Central and not necessarily like tell everybody about it, but like just learn from my experience and what I've learned here, and just use that to, I don't know, not be racist, because like, I'm not racist, but it just shows me now like the effects of racism, the long-term effects, you know, and that's just one thing that I'll forever keep with me.
So today was our service day. It was really cool to see. I think what stood out to me most was the impact of the devastation that happened through the tornado. I never really understood how, mentally understood how bad it really was until I stood in the house that didn't have a roof or siding or anything. It was all gutted out. So it really put into perspective how life-changing it was for the people that lived there and the families that went through this. And I think I could take this back home probably by just being more aware and putting myself in people's shoes. I think that's really important. And I think this experience really helped me understand that more. So it's really a blessed day.
She said that she was telling us how back in the day African Americans weren't able to go to the pools and you know, like the river, for example, public places, so they never learned to swim. So that was, you know, kind of a factor that maybe back then seemed so small, but I mean it impacted people. I mean, to this, I mean, back in Katrina, they weren't able to swim and save themselves. So I mean, it's just, I mean, just realizing how something that maybe seemed so insignificant back then can have such an impact. So I mean, I just think that, I mean, we just learned so many great things, and I hope that I can go back to Ellensburg and Central and share these stories with people so they also become educated and get to know the real story and some of these experiences that we've heard about. I think that's going to be my goal when I go back to Ellensburg.
We started off bright and early, and we headed off to go help build the house of Terry and Tori, who lost their house to the tornado that just recently went through. It was a very good time, and it was really nice meeting them. They were very positive, even though they had just lost their house. And so what I will take back to Central is a very hard work ethic from everything we did today. That's not something I usually do, building houses and taking houses apart. So it was a new experience. And then I will take back a positive attitude, and I will take back the ability to talk to anyone. They would come up to you, whether you were their friend or not, and just they could hold a conversation like it was nothing. And I really respect that, and I hope to bring back to Central just positive attitudes.
So today we were able to like experience and really do a service project and help out a family to rebuild their homes. I think one thing that stood out to me is the tour that Austin did, and I think one of the things is like a lot of flashbacks from the Philippines because we have a lot of typhoons and things that kind of cause houses to be destroyed. And I think for us, coming from like a developing nation in the Philippines, it's hard for us to think that something like that would happen in America. And like our perspective is that a hurricane would happen or a tornado, and then it will get rebuilt then at the very next day. And I think seeing that firsthand, that perspective of like demolished houses or some houses hasn't even rebuilt from Katrina, which are 12 years ago, was really impactful. And I will kind of use that experience to kind of impact the Central as kind of expanding your perspective and being mindful more of like helping different organizations. Like I work with Apoyo, with Chavez King Leadership Institute, and that's just something that I will keep in mind. And it just empowers me more and to make a difference in this world, no matter what or how powerful the country is. There's somebody needs help somewhere.
Stood out to me the most was visually seeing the effects of the natural disaster, the tornado that hit 4 to 5 weeks ago, and how I'm going to translate that over to Central, or how it's going to help me out in Central. Is that I'm going to seeing that actually inspired me to want to help out more, and so I'll probably end up doing that when I go over to Central.